Another thing is that we have to see our inequalities in the nation and how this higher education, when we reform it, this inequalities in the area of different sectors of the society, we have to take consideration. Then which are these areas? The first area is the regional inequalities. Within the state, disparities are there, inequalities are there. You will see the different hilly area, the coastal area, the river side area, and drought affected areas. We can see the geographical conditions of the, according to that, those who are living in a far remote area, how to reach the higher education to them, or how to include them in this area. Within state also, and state wise also, disparities are there. Languages is different, the traditions are different, culture is different, even though we have to include them in a mainstream of higher education. And for that purpose, while reforming the higher education, we have to consider all these inequalities where we have to make them include, and we have to finish these inequalities. Another area is the rural and urban area. We have to consider while planning the higher education. Inequalities between the social groups, the caste and categories, religion, gender. We have to see every time when reforming higher education, how all these sections will be get the opportunity to access the higher education. And there are inequalities in the economic groups also, poor, middle class. Different schemes will be there so that they can complete their higher education by supporting them by providing loan or providing scholarships or any other way. So while reforming the schemes, by designing the schemes, we have to see their needs. By this way, they can be in the mainstreaming of higher education. Then what will be the problems of higher education? We have to see it, so that we can reform it, contribute into the higher education. The inequality, the inadequate budgetary provision. We are expecting, everybody is talking about the 6% of the budgetary provision to be for the education. Then how we do it will be. And that is why the private sectors are coming into the sector, so that the government will get the support from the private, so that they can bear some expenses in the higher education and create infrastructure, provide higher education by their own income, and by this way the society will benefit through it. Along with the public investment, the private investment come together, and we can achieve the 6%. Government alone, it is their limitations to immediately meet the 6% in the budgetary provision to the higher education. Another important sector is that aspect we have to consider regarding the problems in higher education is the non-recruitment of the teachers. Even at the policymakers also expected that the student-teacher ratio is not maintained in higher education. So this also one thing we have to consider that. And by how many ways we can overcome this problem? By availing the teachers. There are so many issues also. Legal, judiciary, changing rules in the recruitment, availability of a quality teachers regarding that, non-recruitment policy for few period, then afterwards changing that policy, the process of recruitment of teachers. All these are the problems where the higher education is struggling. Another thing is that the fee structure of higher education. Fees, and day by day the higher education is becoming the costlier. As the private sector incurs, the cost per head of the student is the key for the deciding the fees. In this line, then this becoming one of the challenge in the higher education. How to available the funding to the students, then the educational loan, that is also easily available loan to the needy students to pursue their higher education. is also one of the things we have to consider. And we know that the fee structure is going to change very differently. We have very different fee structures. Foreign students, NRI students, out of state student, management quota, merit students, payment sheets, regular students, socioeconomic students, poverty, below poverty students. There are so many types of different fee structures, and we need to address all these things very intellectually by collaborating, by sitting together, by modifying the policies and approaches. The fees of different atoms, when somebody is admitting to the college as a teacher, you should be aware of what type of fees are actually the student has to pay. The application fee, registration fee, lab fee, exam fee, tuition fee, mark statement fees, fees for certification, and lot many fees there are. At least the teacher should be aware that when he was student he had paid, but the day by day again he become a teacher and the new fees are introduced, and what type of fees the student has to be pay, that teacher should be aware of that. This is the one thing, and at your own, at least you see the challan of any admitted student, how many types of fees the student has to pay at the time of the registration. Then we can see that which is unnecessary fee, which is the imposed fee, which is necessary fee. That debate we can do it and find out the way through this. Another thing challenge in the fee structuring is that the uncontrolled increase in fees. There are private sectors, there are autonomous institutions, and even though the government want to control the fee structure, but there are some new heads are created, and through that the uncontrolled fees are collected. And introduction of a self-financing courses, again there are a self-financing fee structure is totally different, and it is sometimes very high. Then how the affordable poor students, though he is willing to join this, and we have to debate on this. We have to come together on this, and we have to see that. And for this purpose, I am awareing all of you that what type of fees are there, what type of student according to that fees are different fees he has to pay. Self-finance fee structure, how it is different from the regular aided fees. Teachers should be aware this course is in this model. That is why we are paying attention of the teachers towards the fee structuring, nature of fees and all these things. Regarding the recruitment of the teachers, there are so many different types of recruitment are now coming in the names. The contractual, regular, then contractual, different Shikshan Mitra, Shikshan Sevak, there are different names are given. That also, what is the scenario of the teachers who are entering into the higher education system. The existing teacher should be aware of this. You may be in one of the contractual or regular mode or any other mode, because as the education is in the state and central's list, both policies, the central and state policies are enacted there, and according to that recruitment is there. But we are only saying that at least what type of the teachers recruitment policies are there. Every time the policies are changed, what are the existing policies, what are the new policies are coming, teachers should be of higher education should know it very well way.